Richard Petty didn't just speak his mind, he said what everyone else was already thinking, and he said it without holding back. When the king of NASCAR calls you out by name, the entire sport stops and listens. Here's exactly what went down. Sunday's Cookout 400 at Martinsville Speedway was running relatively clean until lap 324. Then Bubba Wallace and Carson Hocevar got together, and the afternoon turned into a full-blown demolition derby. 12 cars got collected in one of the biggest wrecks of the day, and the driver who started it didn't even see the checkered flag. Here's how it unfolded. One lap before the big one, the field restarted. Carson Hocevar, in the know, 77 Chevy for Spire Motorsports, made an aggressive move and went 3 wide underneath Bubba Wallace into turn 1. There was contact, but Hocevar cleared him coming out of turn 2. That's short track racing. That's Martinsville. But Wallace wasn't having it. As they entered turn 3, Wallace got on Hocevar's rear bumper and shoved him. Then he did it again and again. He kept driving into the back of the 77 car all the way through turns 3 and 4. This wasn't a single tap, it was repeated, deliberate contact. Coming off turn 4, Hocevar's car finally snapped loose on the front stretch, and all hell broke loose. Daniel Suarez, Chris Buescher, Austin Dillon, Austin Hill, Zane Smith, John Hunter Nemechek, Eric Jones, Michael McDowell, Connor Daly, and even Wallace's own teammate, Riley Herbst, got swept up in the chaos. One single moment took out a huge chunk of the field. Hocevar's crew managed to patch the car up enough to stay on the lead lap. He fought his way back through the pack and finished 17th, matching his best career result at Martinsville. Not bad for a car that looked like scrap metal. Wallace wasn't as lucky. His race ended on the spot. He was scored 36th, his first DNF of the season, and had to visit the infield care center. After getting cleared, Wallace walked straight up to Fox Sports reporter Jaime Little on pit road and owned it, sort of. "I misjudged," he said. "I didn't appreciate the 3 wide into 1, but I misjudged the center of the corner and didn't mean to turn him." According to Wallace, it was frustration that went too far, not an intentional wreck. A lot of people watching the replay aren't buying that story. The way Wallace kept hammering the back of Hocevar's car, it looked anything but accidental. And nobody made that clearer than Richard Petty. The 7-time champion was at Martinsville that day and watched it all happen live. The next Monday on his podcast, The Petty Race Recap, co-host Dale Inman tried to describe it softly. Wallace kind of got into the 77. Petty immediately shut it down. Kind of got into him? He just drove on in there and knocked the door out of him. Short, direct, pure king. Kevin Harvick, calling the race on Fox, called it out in real time too. He said Wallace drove straight through the 77 and pointed out that Bubba was already having a terrible day before the incident even happened. Kyle Petty went even deeper on the Inside the Race podcast. He said Wallace was dealing with 2 layers of frustration. The obvious one, a bad day at the track. The deeper one, watching his teammate Tyler Reddick dominate the sport. Reddick had become the first driver in NASCAR Cup history to win the first 3 races of a season and had 4 wins in the first 6. That kind of dominance by your own teammate gets in your head whether you want it to or not. Kyle also defended Hocevar, saying that while Hurricane Hocevar has a reputation for being aggressive, this time he did nothing wrong. Going 3 wide at Martinsville is not a reason to get destroyed like that. Steve Latate added that he believes Wallace meant to make contact to move Hocevar out of the way, but simply misjudged how hard he was on the gas, and it went way too far. The toughest words, however, came from inside Wallace's own camp. His spotter, Freddie Kraft, appeared on the Door Bumper Clear podcast and didn't hold back. He said he has to take Bubba at his word that it was a misjudgment, but added, "If it was a misjudgment, it was a really bad one, and it hurts." Kraft then laid out the real damage. Wallace came into Martinsville sitting third in points with a real shot at contending for a championship. After back-to-back DNFs at Darlington and Martinsville, he plummeted to 11th in the standings. All that early season work gone in 2 weekends. "You can't have those moments if you want to be a contender," Kraft said. "That cannot happen." He called it exactly what it was: self-inflicted. "That one word stings more than anything else said all week." This wasn't a mechanical failure. This wasn't bad luck. Wallace did this to himself. Now the championship picture has changed dramatically. The early story of Bubba Wallace quietly building toward a deep playoff run looks very different today. The only question left is whether he can stop the bleeding before the damage becomes permanent.